Ladies and gentlemen, the Bit of It Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Happy New Year. Welcome to 2015. Welcome to the Mark Pillar broadcast. Today we're going to talk about a few things because it's really important to see what's going on. Okay, first off, people are waking up in masses. The people are bending over for the system. People are just doing what they're told and trying to control society. You are the ones that are the schizos. You're the ones that are bending over for the system. And a lot of people are waking up to the deceptiveness of the government. They know it can't be trusted. They know the agenda. They're waking up to the Federal Reserve. They're waking up to the cartels. This mass consciousness is a machine that cannot be stopped. It was planned years ago. This whole thing is just like a mathematical equation. You cannot keep the lies and deceptions going on forever. Okay? That brings me to today. What this broadcast is about is to actually give you a preparation. Okay? Let's get back to the history of this in a second, but the reason why, because there's things coming to light that our species, as far as technology, we're at an impasse. Anybody that thinks otherwise thinks we can create more, you're sadly mistaken, and you're very stupid. Because on a third-dimensional level, you're only allowed to go so far. It's just common sense. So you're at an impasse. You can't go that far. So on a note, if you look at the signs, especially in notes that are in this book, in 2017, you will see the beginning, and in 2022, you will see the beginning of the end, unless you all change. Change is something that's already happening. I mean, this is a mass awakening. There's people 500 million or more strong. You know, just look at Anonymous as it is. Look at the protesting. Look at everything that's coming onto this planet. We are the masses. We are the ones that have broken free from our bonds of imprisonment. Okay? The ones that try to ridicule you, the ones that try to be trolls, those are the sheep that would line up the slaughter. They would just ba along, just like little idiots, and just go right into the slaughterhouse because they're too stupid to think for themselves. That is fact. They don't change. They don't be themselves. They follow suit. Okay? Let me give you a background on this book, but in 2004, the author of this book actually became friends with a Ukrainian guy that he called Petro, okay? And he was asked in 2008, he was called up in 2008 if he wanted to go on a road trip. And he agreed to this road trip, and it was going to the south of Spain where, he visited his friend's brother. Or his father, I'm sorry. And his father asked him to do a favor to clean out these empty boxes, from one of the rooms. And he wanted to make it into a bedroom for his guests. So they said, yeah, sure, that's no problem, we can do that. They were expecting to see old newspapers or things like that, but instead what they found was 58 boxes full of old documents and books from the time when he was a diplomat. And some documents were in Russian. Okay, some were even from the USSR times. So we're going back really in history for this, that this thing is not, no, it's not disinformation. This thing is preparing you that we need an evolutionary boost because the human species have reached an impasse and it's got to go through spiritual. And that's why the Pleiadians were trying to teach you spiritualistic. That's why people are actually meditating, getting into that conscious mode. It is all one. Everything is connected. There is nothing. History Channel put on this stupid thing, but the aliens failed because the J.P. Morgan got this test. You know what? They didn't fail. It was purposely placed there, and the information went right into the consciousness grid, which is waking up people today. Everything is mathematically equated. History Channel is a bunch of idiots now. They're trying to pull you back. That's why I don't watch TV. I have broken free like the other 500 million who are smarter than the stupid people watching it today. Go ahead. Watch TV. Be hypnotized. bend over for the system. But we're going to do something better. And like I said, you might want to prepare yourself because a lot of this information you can go research. In fact, you should research it yourself. Okay? But this is information, especially when you start looking at some of the notes that are actually in the book. And like I said, I will leave this book in the link, and you can do it yourself. But there is a story that I like to go, or quote that I like to go, that these messages were put in. And it's scary because when you read these messages, you're sitting there looking at history and looking at what was there and looking at what the reports were and what these idiots say it is, and people ridiculing other people, but the stories happen to fill in the gaps that the law enforcement flakes, all these people could not get because they can't understand there's more than themselves. Okay? There's more dimension. Even Albert Einstein says 11 dimensions to reality. Well, if you're only dealing with this third dimension, you're basketball, you're stupid waste of time basketball, you're stupid crap, then guess what? You're not in reality. You are in a fantasy because you've got other 10 dimensions that you're not even looking at. And those are facts. Let's get to these quotes really quick so that way we can get on with this, so that way you can see. But this is part one. We got 3 parts to cover because there's a lot of information that I want to get out there, or I want you to be able to hear this. But when I read this book, it was something really, it was unique to me because just some of the messages they put out there, 2017 and 2022. 2017, you'll see the beginning. In 2022, you'll see the beginning of the end if you don't all change. Well, that's the spiritual guidance. That's changing to say, hey, there's only one race upon this earth, the human race. You're not black, you're not white, you're not Mexican. You're one race, the human race. Okay? But some of these quotes really had me, or one of these quotes or messages that really had me. One was, Bush will do what Bush is told to do, just like the others before him. It's kind of unique because we already know this now. Most people were so stupid they didn't know then, but as I said, the consciousness is waking people up to where they know that the whole dang thing is like WWE in front of the Democrats and Republicans. All they're doing is just putting on a show, but they're not enemies. In fact, they probably go drink a beer together or snort coke or whatever it is they did, because in July, wasn't George W. Bush arrested for cocaine possession? Yes. Another thing the mainstream media or even the Young Turks didn't even cover, but George W. Bush, former president. And I think the cop's response was funny to that one. But anyways, let's get back to this. But one quote really had me shuddering. And I think about this because I was born in this, I was alive in this area. So what got me to wonder was these quotes. And one of them was this: the violence and hatred that humans have inside themselves when compared to the violence and the hatred that the race mater has inside themselves is like comparing a flower to a volcano. Kind of true, because people have been fighting over each other for race. Okay, like I said, I just quoted that one. In 2017, you'll see the beginning. In 2022, you will see the beginning of the end unless you all change. It's common sense, Treat people the way you want to be treated. Okay? I think this is the last quote I'll read because it really made me wonder, especially when you think about the 70s when all those kids were all over. Milk cartons all over, the United States and probably the world. But, okay, this is the quote I'm going to read. It says, your children that now live inside the moon do not miss you anymore. These are messages and notes to have, so it gets you to, really wonder what they know and what we haven't been told. But there's always been a lot we haven't been told. A lot of things have been covered. In fact, that's why I put out there, I never want to cast aspersions on Dr. Weir, but I put out there that I don't know where his loyalties lie, because you hear him talk about certain aspects. Abductions are important, either benevolent or malevolent, good or bad. They're important. They go with it. And like somebody told me a long time ago, no matter what anybody tells you, tell them to stick it up their ass. And I'm sorry to say it like that, but it's true, because number one, you have these idiots that just follow the system. They're sheep. Why would I listen to you? Why would I care what you think about me? You're just a sheep being led off to slaughter. You're a dum-dum. I don't care about that. He also told me this: you need to uncover everything, because if you only uncover half of it, as soon as you open your mouth, you sound like an ass, because you're missing another 3,000 pages. The Anunnaki was not the reptilians. The Anunnaki was a different race. In fact, the human race was genetically modified twice, to my knowledge of research. The Anunnaki, one, that kept the 12 strands of DNA connected, and the reptilians, number two, that disassembled it and kept only the double helix, 2 strands, but kept the rest of that stuff in there unplugged, where doctors call junk DNA. I don't care if you're that stupid. There's no such thing as junk in the body. You have to understand that. If you think there is, you're definitely a brainwashed idiot. Congratulations. You should get a reward for being a retard, because I don't believe anything the government tells me, because I'm awake. I'm smarter than you. Anybody that believes the government at this point should have their head examined. Please donate your brain to science so we can see what kind of disease you have and what kind of schizo brain you have, so we make sure it doesn't rub off on our frickin' kids. Let's go to this. This is really important, guys. So let's go to part 1 of this, and I'll tell you, Mondays and Fridays from now on. Here's part 1.
Alien races. A to E. Agarians, or Agartians, a group of Asiatic or Nordic humans who, sources claim, discovered a vast system of caverns below the region of the Gobi Desert and surrounding areas thousands of years ago, and have since established a thriving kingdom within, one which has been interacting with other planetary systems up until current times. Alpha Draconians, reptilian beings who are said to have established colonies in Alpha Draconis. Like all reptilians, these claim to have originated on Terra thousands of years ago, a fact that they used to justify their attempt to retake the Earth for their own. They are apparently a major part of a planned invasion which is eventually turning from covert infiltration mode to overt invasion mode as the window of opportunity, the time span before international human society becomes an interplanetary and interstellar power, slowly begins to close. They are attempting to keep the window open by suppressing advanced technology from the masses, which would lead to eventual Terran colonization of other planets by Earth and an eventual solution to the population, pollution, food and other environmental problems. Being that Terrans have an inbred warrior instinct, the Draconians do not want us to attain interstellar capabilities and therefore become a threat to their imperialistic agendas. Refer to Els. Altarians. Alleged reptilian inhabitants of the